Greg Popovich, one of the greatest coaches in the NBA, one of the best coaches in the NBA right now. His coaching tree and people who have come out of his organization as players, coaches, or executives, it fills up the whole of the NBA. And I'm telling you, the league should be paying Greg Popovich for every coach or executive that they take from the Spurs organization, because that organization has been drained. It's like the whole league has been a parasite on Greg Popovich and the Spurs. They're just eating off of everything he produces. Imagine a situation where you have a bunch of employees. You train them, you teach them stuff, you groom them, and then next thing you know, boom, another company takes one of the employees, and then boom, another. And you have to keep hiring and keep losing employees and hiring and training. That's a lot. You have to start all over again, teaching them the philosophies, your ideas, and everything. And how to assist you, it's crazy. So, for that to be happening to him, it's going to be hard for Popovich to succeed now, because everybody now has a lot of his ideas, a lot of his techniques, a lot of his player grooming and identifying draft that would knows going to become really good picks. Popovich was one of the first coaches that did not undermine or look down on international players. He was one of the first. If you look at all the guys that he's brought through his organization, the Tony Parkers and the Manu Ginobilis, he even brought some other guys. He didn't draft some other guys, but brought them into the organization, like Boris Diaw and a bunch of other guys. He has brought a lot of international players, helped them to be successful, and won championships with them. Things many other teams would not even consider. It takes a 15 draft, number 15 pick, and turn him into a Hall of Famer. You can take a second round draft pick and turn him into a Hall of Famer. Greg Popovich never worried about being at the back of the draft, because he knows how to get what he wants. A lot of teams that are not very good in evaluating and developing players, they only look for the lottery pick, the 1, 2, 3 picks, the ones that they hope would even if you don't need any skill to really pick one of those guys. Popovich will never worry if he's getting the 20th pick. He's not worried. He's going to find someone that everyone's going to overlook and pick that person and help him become successful, an MVP or Hall of Famer in his team. Look at someone like a guy like if you look at a guy like Kawhi Leonard, he was the number 15 pick, turned him into an All-Star, into an MVP, into a champion. That's what Greg Popovich does. He doesn't worry about it. And a quiet guy like Kawhi Leonard, which some teams may have overlooked, he doesn't mind. He goes for them. And if Kawhi was still with the Spurs, if the injury situation didn't mess things up, Greg Popovich is still going to be winning championships right now. They could have won at least a couple, I believe, by now. But things got messed up, and the whole passing down the guard, everything just got messed up in the Spurs organization, and now it's harder for them to get good draft picks, because if, for example, the Spurs are going to have the 20th pick, when you have about 10 coaches that went through your coaching tree, and they know what kind of guys you might pick and how to select guys and how to figure out who might be a good pick, whether they're international or local. It's going to be hard for you to find those, really good guys that slip through the other teams and pick them, because all the other coaches and executives that you've trained that have left your organization for the past, decade, they are going to be picking them, So you're not going to have the best options out there anymore. You're not going to find those gems, those gems that slip through the other teams that don't know how to evaluate players, especially international players. And look at the host of international players that are in the league right now. Guys like the recent MVP, Finals MVP, Giannis Antetokounmpo, the Greek freak, who's of Nigerian heritage. That guy was a mid first round pick. You got the current MVP, league MVP in Jokic, the Joker. I mean, you got a lot of really, really good international players that many teams would have overlooked. But guess what? Many of those teams now have guys from the Spurs who can find those guys, pick them, and grow them and groom them to become great players. All-stars, MVPs, Hall of Fame caliber players. Look at the list of coaches. Some of them that have a coach or an executive that went through the sports organization under Popovich. Okay, you have guys like Danny Ferry, executives here, Kevin Pritchard, Sam Presti, Rob Hennigan. For coaches, you have guys like Brett Brown, that was the former Philadelphia head coach. Ime Udoka, the recently hired Celtics coach. Mike Budenholzer, the newest championship winning coach for the Bucks. Monty Williams, who went to NBA Finals with the Suns against the Bucks. Jim Boylan with Bulls, Quinn Snyder, Taylor Jenkins, Mike Brown. I mean, the list just goes on and on and on. And it's just crazy. So I think that Popovich should be paid for every coach or exec or front office person they take from the organization. The Spurs should be paid because it's just crazy. It's unfair to me. I mean, come on, it's very, very unfair. They keep sapping. I mean, the whole league is like a parasite on the sports organization. Point blank, the league is like a parasite because they just keep sucking the life, the coaching life, and front office life off of the sports organization. It's just harder and harder for them to really, make their mark as they used to, amongst other things. But I think they definitely need to be paid, without a doubt. I mean, Greg Popovich is great. He's currently, coaching Team USA, and I think that the one thing that has eluded Greg Popovich, which is probably why he took the job, is to get the gold medal as a coach of the USA men's team. And he has actually said it himself that this is one thing that has eluded him. And a few times that the US lost in the Olympics, he was there. The last World Championships, he was a coach, and he didn't get that. So that's the one team he wants to get. He's been lucky, and he wants to try to get that. And I think that if he gets that Olympic gold, Greg Popovich is going to start looking at retirement. Once he gets that Olympic gold, he'll begin to consider, stepping down and moving on. Because it's like, 70 or something? Approaching 70? So, yeah, it's been unfair to him what's been going on in the league. And I think that he needs to not only be honored for how many people he has groomed. Yeah, Greg Popovich is 72 years. Not only for the people he has groomed, but also for the amount of time and energy that has been taken away from his organization because of those coaches that have left his team, the Spurs, and gone to other teams. The league should be paying him to honor him, and it's unfair to him what has been happening to him over the years. And we have players too that went through him that are now coaches. The Golden State, coach. They played for him for a few times. So you have a lot of guys that understand his philosophy and his method and style that are in all the teams around the league. The Spurs, Greg Popovich, they need not just kudos, but they should be paid for each coach that leaves their team. I'm telling you, they have to. It's unfair.
Already a legendary coach, very emotional on the bench. So happy for his star player, Tim Duncan, who's with us.